Pronto. Okay. I feel relatively sane. I made some dough. I'm just saying I'm making baby steps into my own life. There's some ghee in it. Let's just look at it and marvel at. This is a dough made from chickpeas, canned chickpeas. The whole can, including the fluid. I mixed it with spelt flour because I needed something heavy. And then I had, this is not honey, although it's being sold as it. This is syrup. This is syrup, and I mix it with grapefruit juice because there wasn't a lot in there anymore. I just want to stretch it out a little. Okay, I'm just trying to explain to you what leading a transparent life means. And that includes also the ingestion, or if you inhale psychedelics. Just give me a second. So it's not so much the ingestion or inhalation. Okay, what do psychedelic substances do? They make you feel open. But when you're open, you're also vulnerable. Like, this is vulnerable now. And if I want to bake it into that shape, I can mush around in it, and then you will realize that whatever this shape was going to be is going to be different because it's still soft on the outside. Which means if you take psychedelics or you smoke, you lose your form in a certain way. Which is why a lot of people start becoming paranoid, because you feel vulnerable. You feel vulnerable and vulnerable and vulnerable. And because you feel so vulnerable, you feel like, okay, there's something weird. So with psychedelics comes also the responsibility for your fear, because that's the gift psychedelics give you. They also open you up to the shadow. So maybe you manage, right? Like, sometimes, actually every time I take a psychedelic, I think it's time to, sometimes we just have to talk about these things, because there are people that feel drawn to these things whether or not they're being considered legal, Because sugar is certainly legal, and I would call that heroin or cocaine, right? And coffee is certainly legal, but there are tribes that have started coffee as a psychedelic substance, which they probably, use to connect with their village, right? Or their tribe. And we just drink it like this, it's like giving someone LSD and then just, letting him chuck it down. I don't know, I just had a weird dream about how it works with politicians. You have a name and suddenly, you know, the industry is piggybacking selling coffee. It's an interesting idea because, now I'm starting to develop maybe into. It's important to talk about these things because if you want to be self-employed and you want to create content, people are going to start paying attention to what you do, and then it's possible that offers will be made. And then you have to ask yourself, you have to weigh this on the scale of your mind or your heart. That's like from that Moon Knight series, maybe I should read something about the gods again. It's about that crocodile that weighs your heart, or is it a hippo? Does it really matter? It's whatever they thought is gonna weigh your heart. I don't think the shape really matters because in every kind of belief system, there's something that's gonna weigh your heart. I don't know what science is. It's probably should be just yourself, your conscious mind, right? Good science requires good observation. That's a quote from Avatar. But it also requires, right, a conscious mind that actually understands what it's doing, because otherwise it's worthless and just contributing to the clutter of opinions that's barring your way to enlightenment. Because if you think you need anything at all, and that's the phase I'm going through now, because I'm in a position where I'm dependent on others, or so it seems, while actually people are depending on me. And literally people are shitting their pants because they think I'm about, to, leave. While I have no intention to leave. But that's just part of their soap drama story that they feed by watching thrillers every evening and reading books about such things. It's their problem. I'm not gonna feed into it. Now the question is, when I lay in bed, like this happens sometimes, and suddenly I'm not sure anymore if I should go to parties or even leave the house, because you never know, right? I mean, I have pissed off. And that's what you think then, that I have pissed off, but actually I think I have helped a lot of people. But I'm still not sure if, they see it as help or if they see it as I pissed them off, because I'm a meddler. I like to meddle. If you invite me to your place, I'm gonna start swooping. I'm gonna start doing things. And that's why I'm not sure about. I'm actually sure about it. And yeah, I think I'm safe. So sometimes I just need food to push me through. So this is literally, I took a can of chickpeas, I put it into this container I used, and then I pour water on top, and then I put flour on top, spelled flour, and then I put a bit of salt inside, and then I put, a natural raising agent in there, which is bicarbonate of soda or this other stuff, something, like acid. And then you just blend it, just use the blender. You just blend it. And after you blend it, Okay, this was just the rest standing around here. Because it had no eggs in it. You don't actually need eggs. If you put the chickpeas in, it's gonna become more like... So I don't actually think, okay, I have eaten meat. But the question is still, did I need to eat meat? Or did meat needed to eat me because it's there? Right, and this I just put, this is more ghee, just wanted for the taste. Now I touched it and it was dirty, and now I feel like, bleh. And this is generally not how I feel with women. Right. I do like being close to women, which is one reason why I want to go to the party next week. I mean, for you that's like 6 months ago. But, I want to go there. And so now I'm just kind of preparing myself just to open up to the possibility of ever feeling a woman next to me. And because I'm still not sure about whether or not this is supposed to be, But yeah, I mean, if whoever you think or you thought you were gonna marry is simply not showing up anymore, then I think you have the right. I mean, if they just stay silent for more than a year, and then they contact other people so that these people tell you to stop contacting them because you were trying to get them to talk to you, I think you have the right to simply never ever consider them as a spouse anymore. And that for me is just very hard, because either I'm the one who's clinging, right? And I'm telling it. If I feel like I'm clinging, I'm telling it. Or it actually wasn't ever me that's clinging. I just felt the other person clinging. And I think I'm just trying to let it fade out. I either want it to end now or to be picked up again, like right now. Because I'm not giving this more than a week anyway. Because, I don't know, I just think, now I'm going to show you a bit like a hack job for my own life. Now you see, I make holes into this so that the sugar can go inside. And then you've got like a buttered, because I fried it on top and below with butter, ghee, and then I'm going to let this is now grapefruit juice with this syrup, right? So you want to kind of glaze it, but it's not actually glazing it. And I just want to make sure it's all in there. Why? Well, it's fairly simple. Because if it's all in here, right. Now it's nice and hot. It's gonna soak. I think you see what I mean. This is part of experimenting. and you can just let it sit. You know, you see, kind of soaked it all up. I'm not gonna eat this now. No, I'm just gonna let it there. Then later, I'm working myself to clean. But I feel like now what I want to do is actually drink a coffee, so I can push out the remnants of the night. Now, this is something that you may or may not do, like maintain as a habit. What I also started to do is take whatever's left of the coffee and feed it to the plants, just so that they have something, right? Some kind of nutrition, because I think they actually really need that. Now, I think that looks pretty tasty, just at least according to, right? So if I want to eat it, I can actually heat it again, and then it gives me another, right? It's going to be interesting how that's going to taste. What was this from? Oh yeah, it was the chickpeas. So I don't really think, I just feel, I think that's what I need now. Yeah, I'm just gonna have you stick around for the coffee. I just want to bring this to the plant, but I'm gonna leave it here. Okay, first, I'm going to rinse this. It's actually weird because yesterday my neighbor came, and she said that my other neighbor was missing and that they tried to contact her, and it was really strange because when she came to me, she was super serious about it and like really worried. And then I jumped onto the problem and I said, okay, maybe I'm gonna check the attic, because she said they already checked the apartment. And I just said, okay, maybe I'm gonna check the attic. And when I said that, she suddenly started to whisper in it like, it's like, I mean, you could say she's an old woman, but the way she said it actually sounded like a little girl. And I checked the attic, and of course there was no one. It was also Halloween, right? So I think people really like a bit of horror. And I would like to go to the horror movie night, There's just nobody to go with. Right, but once again, I'm in this position where I actually cannot do a lot about it. Jesus. What is all of this stuff? once again, I would like to stress the point that it's a privilege to have someone share himself on YouTube. Because what transparency certainly is it's a safe way to being harassed. Right? So if you go out, you have to be aware that people are going to ask you weird questions. I mean, I've had people asking me questions such as, why don't you have furniture? It's like, yeah, that's a very like intimate question. But that's what transparency is, isn't it? And then you just have to answer it. It's just like, well, because, right? Right, it's like about to never give up. And then sometimes I'm not sure what I'm not supposed to give up on. Okay, this is gonna be the last of the sugar. I think I've been having a sugar binge. Like a real serious sugar binge. And this is just my way of doing this, right? This is not the prescribed method or something. Now this can go over here. Right. I just, my focus is just on being with a woman. You don't have to judge me for that. You certainly can. I'm gonna make this, I have black cardamom. And she won't believe this, but I had this. This is not the black cardamom. I mean, this is the black cardamom. Black cardamom is also considered as the bastard cardamom. Has a very strong flavor, like really strong. It has a kind of a smoky aroma. It was part of the garam masala spice blend, and I used it to I saw it when I was, because it has all kinds of, it's not a spice blend that has been mixed already. It's just the seeds, like fennel seeds, coriander seeds, black pepper seeds, cumin seeds, cinnamon, right? Like real, like, oh shit. This is the peel. I'm putting that in there because the peel itself holds a lot of the flavor and presumably the eterical oils. Just give me a second, I just want to bring this. okay, how connected do you feel to the women in your life? I mean, I get it. You know, some women, they want an escape from being themselves. You know, sometimes I offer you my help. You know, I fell in love with you, and then you tried to kind of, I don't know, it just didn't work. And then you're asking yourself, wait, is this turning into like a Jerry and Beth? You know, like Rick and Morty? Or is this going to be a bit different? Well, I'm not quite sure, but I'm certainly not going to sit around waiting for it. You know, I'm just going to engage with it, which is why I still feel love for this one specific woman, which does remind me of my mother, which I feel like I have to be open about. Which is why at the moment I do not actually want to spend time with my mother, because I'm actually trying to draw this woman into my life. And this is basically like making a spell. Because I'm holding focus and attention, but it's actually, I'm not quite sure if I'm trying to attract or get rid of. I think I'm trying to get rid of the one thing to attract another. And when the one thing that I'm trying to get rid of, you know, is stronger than whatever else I'm going to attract, then I'm going to either stand there in the end with nothing, or the woman that tries to act like she doesn't like me. No, I cannot repeat this. Okay, can I say it in other words? Jesus, man, you know, communication is hard. Why do I have to be the one to make an effort? Right? You can say, yeah, because you're the guy who wrote all these books, and you can communicate these things on a really high level. And then you say, yeah, I get that. But what I don't get is why? You know, why can't you figure this out by yourself? You know, that's the question I'm having. You know, why other people cannot figure it out by themselves? Why do I have to be there to tell them what they feel? And this is when you actually begin to grasp the validity of the guru. You know, he gives shape, possibly in the form of words or in a being. He just gives shape to something that can give you a new direction. You know, it's like this thing that says, you know, do this, and you just do it. And I happen to have this thing inside of myself, which is why, you know, I'm not really listening to any real life people apart from Chris Webby, where I've realized that I actually do better art when I smoke tobacco. Not always, but there is a difference. Jesus, this thing takes ages in comparison to this thing. So this is aluminium, and this is this, in German I think it's called Messing. Why does it take so long? And you could say probably it's going to, you know, is it better or worse? Well, I know that if you have an espresso machine and the tank is made of, let's just call it messing, for want of the English word, then it's going to last a long time. Maybe it was that other thing. But if it's aluminium, you have to worry about because it actually dissolves. Which is why people say you should not take these because there's aluminium inside. And if you drink it, then you're full of heavy metals. Well, I think that's why it's important to do your cleansing. I've done an awful lot of cleansing. I mean, I've cleansed for several weeks with chlorine dioxide and DMSO, right? They say you have to be careful because DMSO is, I don't know, it just kind of takes up substances that it gets into touch with. So you can use it to massage, but if you, let's say, have the DMSO in a plastic bottle or even a plastic pipette, it's going to absorb the plastic, some of the things of the plastic, and it's going to give it into your body, and maybe that's not such a good idea. But yeah, I mean, plastic's there, right? So it's probably better a question of, okay, if you've already got all that plastic inside of yourself, I think it's always better, my recent ventures into, I'll eat meat again have actually shown me that if I eat meat with an open mind, it just becomes food. But I still feel like my body is full of clutter. And I'm trying to get rid of it, and this is why, I have people that want to support me with food. When I think, I don't need food. I don't need to go shopping with you. You should just then give me the money so that I can decide what I want to buy, because I would not buy food with it. I would probably buy a rapé, and that's what people don't like. Right? So if you want to pay my shopping, I suggest you just send me money, and because I have to be able to decide by myself what it is that I need. I cannot be your toy boy no matter what the relationship is that we have. So if you meet me in a bar and I seem to be open to these things at the moment, and you want to take me home, I don't think that's going to work. I think what I like is to establish a relationship and then to really spend time with each other. And depending on where you stand in your life, this may be a little bit weird for you because, just see the way my kitchen looks like. This is not a standard kitchen. This is like DIY meets whatever. If you're super stuck up on this is how a kitchen has to look like, then we're gonna run into problems fairly easy in this adventure. Which is why, I'm not sure if you really want this. Which is why, I live in a city and I make art. And I'm not sure how my life's gonna be. So apparently there is no woman that's gonna be here at the moment. Okay, can I change that? Well, I can certainly try. I can try to find someone, who actually likes the meat. But then the problem is, if I invite you in my home, is she gonna go around talking about me? I think for that I first have to get to know you a little. It's not like, it's not like I'm the mayor or something. Maybe I'm the mayor of hearts. There's a point to it, but you don't want to get too cocky with what you think your abilities are. Because I meet people who think they're super powerful, and then you can say, well, he looks a bit like me. And then you realize, no, he doesn't. I don't think I've ever done what he does. And that's a far stretch. Probably it's good to always consider that you're kind of similar. Just let me get my cup. Okay, this video is certainly reaching its end. Gee. You know, this old thing, this really old white thing, which is probably 20 years old, does a much better job. Because it keeps the heat, right? I can turn this on now and then it turns hot. And then I can just turn it off and it keeps the heat. And then I can still make coffee here. But with this, you know, you just have to constantly have it on. Actually really wasting energy. You see, and then you ask yourself, do I really like it? Yeah. And then there's the question of, would you take back women from your past? And if so, which? You know, you can turn this around and say, would you take back men from your past? And if so, which? Let me say, I'm not quite sure. Which, it says. Which? Which do you like best? Which of the witches that you met do you like best? I have to say, I don't know. They all seem terrifying. Which is why I often get to the point where I say, why do I have to pick, you know? The choices are too big. You know, for me to pick one. Or maybe to just pick one. But then I'm asking myself, well, if I would pick more, you know, would that really work? I mean, can a man have several women without going insane? Well, it's possible. I mean, it's possible. That's all I'm saying. It's just then, you know, I don't know if women would be okay with that. I have the feeling women don't want just one man. And then I think maybe they do. Or maybe, you know, I feel like there are some women who just want a guy when, you know, they need a guy. And maybe that's just because, you know, all the men have no balls and just run away.